Whether the team is performing clean or unsightly, we'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, I had a chance to take a look at the film from Week 9's loss to the New York Football Giants. And I must say, and I've uploaded the first half defensive film, and I'm almost done with the second half. Let me just start by saying the Giants didn't have a 3-and-out in the game until literally the final possession that they had when they essentially were trying to run out the clock. We got the sack, and that prompted them to have to punt. Up until that point, and remember, that is literally with 2 minutes left in the game. So the Giants, up until the 2-minute warning, essentially, of the fourth quarter, had not punted 3-and-out. And if memory serves me correct, that's correct. They hadn't punted 3-and-out the entire game up until that point. So that just goes to show you how bad we were struggling in this game. I'm trying to think about the 3rd and 16 that we forced them to punt early in the game. That might have been a 3-and-out, but they might have gotten a first down first. And then after that first down, they got, I can actually check this right now. I actually have the capability to look this up as we sit here. Let's see. That 3-and-out would have been in the first quarter. Nope. That wasn't a 3-and-out. And when we got them in that 3rd and 16, they got a first down and then the second set of downs. So I'm looking at it right now. So no, I was spot on with that. They never punted 3-and-out until literally the late stages of the game. So that's the kind of day it was defensively for us. But that being said, I want to reiterate something right now. The defense was ready to play at the beginning of the game. And when you watch the film, you know, there's some disheartening portions of the film. And I have reasons as to why that is happening. And I talk about it in the film breakdown. And if you've had a chance to watch the film breakdown and listen to my analysis of the film, then you know exactly what I'm about to say. But the defense was ready to play at the beginning of this game. They stopped the Giants on 4th and 1 on the first possession. They then had the Giants in a 3rd and 16 in which they got off the field. That's the muffed Isaiah Wright punt. And even after all of that, they had only given up 3 points. And so, I mean, they had the fumble, obviously, the offense did. And they got 3 points out of that. They give the big play. They didn't have to give that up. They did. I talked about that on film. And then the muff punt, they give up the touchdown. And now it's 10-0. So they actually came to play ball. First possession, Giants move it down the field. They stone them on 4th and 1, nothing. The offense comes out, one play. And keep in mind, this is a gassed defense. The Giants' first possession of the game was every bit of 7 plays or so. 6, 7 plays. They come off the field for one snap, and they're back on the field. The very first play that they're back on the field, they give up a 40-yard completion down the sideline to Mack. After that, they buckle down, force another field goal. Or force a field goal attempt. 3-0. The offense comes out, promptly goes 3-and-out. Not through the fault of anybody other than a batted ball and a drop pass by Logan Thomas. So they go 3-and-out. Defense comes back on the field and essentially gives up one first down and has the Giants, after they try to get slick with a flea flicker, sack Daniel Jones. It's 2nd and 16. They don't complete a pass. They tried to run it. They didn't get anything. It's 3rd and 16. We get off the field. Okay? Then you get the muff punt by Isaiah Wright. That's when they give up the touchdown. And that's when really all hell broke loose from that point forward in terms of stopping the Giants from a defensive standpoint in the first half. After that, it's like the floodgates opened. But They came ready to play initially, and they got no help from the offense nor special teams. And I can't make any excuses for them thereafter. But they came ready to go. And if this game starts differently from an offensive and special team standpoint, maybe the defense doesn't give it up the way that they did in this game. That being said, they did their normal thing in the third quarter and into the fourth quarter, like they did against the Giants essentially the first time around. We didn't give up much of anything defensively. Remember, the first time we played the Giants, they didn't score a single point offensively in the second half. Their only points came via the fumble, scoop, and score that was given up by the offense. The Giants scored a single field goal in the second half. They were up 20-3. They scored one field goal in the third quarter, and that was it. They didn't score the rest of the game. It wasn't pretty defensively in the second half, but they got it done. The biggest issue with this team, I'm going to repeat myself numerous times throughout tonight's breakdown, because I don't think you guys, if you're not watching the film, if you're watching the film, if you're on Patreon, if you're watching the film or you're watching it separately on your own, but if you're watching the film, then I don't have to explain this to you. Because I've showed you this on the film all season long, but specifically in this game. Because I'm at wit's end with Jon Bostic. I can't take it anymore. They have got to get him off the field. And they're not. I know they're not. I'm listening to Rivera at his press conference, and he's already said, we need more out of the linebackers. Be more specific. You need more out of Jon Bostic. He doesn't want to single anybody out, nor should he. He's the head coach. You got to keep it professional. Jon Bostic is a problem. He is. And I show you this on film. Play after play after play. You want to know why we're giving up 5? You want to know why we're giving up 11? You want to know why we're giving up 8? It's Jon Bostic. You want to know why they're converting 3rd and 4 with a wide-ass open receiver? It's Jon Bostic. He's got to go. He is killing us defensively. Single-handedly bringing this defense to its knees. He is killing us. He's killing us in pass coverage. He's killing us in the run game. Jon Bostic is killing this defense. Put Sean Deion Hamilton in the goddamn game. I don't give a shit. Get him off the field. He's killing us. Anyway, Bryce Love practiced today. That was some great news. Don't know his status for today's game. Washington has approximately 21 days, so 3 weeks, to determine whether Bryce Love is going to be pulled off of IR or not. Today's a good day. He practiced. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We know what Rivera likes to say, so we're not going to ask, do you think Bryce Love's going to play this week? You got to see how he responds to practicing on Wednesday. If he comes out and he practices again tomorrow and he looks good, then we can cross our fingers and hope that maybe he'll be able to be activated here shortly. I don't know if it's going to be this week. It could be next week. It could be the week after that. It could be this week. We'll see. Just know that barring a setback, Bryce Love looks like he could finally see the field. This is a guy we spent a 4th round 2019 draft pick on and haven't seen him on a field yet in any capacity. I'm ready to spread the love. I'm ready to spread the love. I'd like to see this guy on an NFL football field in a burgundy and gold uniform, I might add. Not somewhere else. Here. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, we're now in the portion of the season where we start to evaluate. Find out what you got. A great example, put Sean Deion in. He can't be any worse than Jon Bostic. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Can't be any worse. So let's start finding out what we got. Jon Bostic is not a part of the future. I guarantee that. If you can bench Troy Apke, you can bench Jon Bostic. And I get it. Not the same thing. Not wearing a green dot. I get it. This guy is playing every single snap of every game. I don't understand that. I don't. Anyway, I got a super chat here. I need to answer this before it goes away. Mark Mullinex, thank you for the super chat, Mark. Greatly appreciate you. Mark Mullinex writes, hey, Alex didn't play for 2 years. He is just getting his leg under him again, so I think he will get better. There's a chance. Look, I watched the film. I talked about it yesterday. Alex was really good in the second half of this game. And really it started the last possession of the first half, and it bled into the second half. Alex was really good. And I can't state this enough. When he's protected, Alex Smith has a chance to be really good in this offense. When he's not protected, when he feels pressure, when he feels rushed, when he's sped up, those interceptions can be replicated. Because as you saw in this game, and Ron even said it at his presser today, there are some times, and I highlighted this in the film breakdown, there are times when Alex could have avoided sacks by just throwing the football. Guys were open. Checkdowns were available. Opportunities for shots down the field were there. And Alex, because he thought he saw pressure, or because he thought he saw a flash of color, or because he thought there was a sense of pressure, he panicked. Eyes dropped down, and now he's looking for some kind of escape route. And 9 times out of 10, he's running into sacks, like he did in the Rams game. And he did it a couple of times versus the Giants. He can't escape like he once could. I don't think that's coming back with more time. Like, I don't think you're going to see Alex Smith magically turn back into 2015 Alex Smith and he's running all around the field. What he is, mobility-wise, is what he's going to be. Now, in terms of him being more comfortable out on the field and maybe pressure not impacting him as much, absolutely. And you could actually see that in the game. And he talked about how, the first game he was out there, he was more worried about just getting hit. He admitted that. And he had every right to feel that way. It was miraculous that he was even on the field versus the Rams. Everybody's mind was blown that day. Like, oh my God, this guy's on the field. This is crazy. This week, I wasn't even thinking about his damn leg. Some of you still were talking about it. I wasn't even thinking about it. He's in the game. I've already seen. He carried Aaron Donald, a 300-pound man, on his back. Gave him a piggyback ride for about 5 seconds. His leg's going to hold up. I'm not worried about that anymore. I wasn't worried about his leg after that game. Now I'm worried about, can you help us win? And what I saw from Alex in the second half, yeah, he can help us win. But I know if I'm playing Washington, I'm going to pressure Alex Smith because I don't know if he can handle it in his current state. I'm going to heat his ass up and see if he can keep his focus down the field and not on the pressure that's coming his way. And if he proves that he can, then I'll stop. If he proves that he can't, then I'm just going to continue to come after him. And to me, that would be the game plan moving forward. If I'm playing Washington, I'm coming after Alex Smith because I don't think he can handle the rush. I don't think he is capable of escaping. And I don't think he is capable of mentally getting over the hurdle of pressure coming and not panicking. So we'll see. Maybe more reps will allow the game to slow down even more for him because you could clearly see the game slowed back down for him at times on Sunday. Clearly you see the game slow down. There were times in the Rams game and even early in this Giants game when he first came in where you could see, okay, shit's still moving at warp speed for him. By the time we got to the second half, the game had slowed down. So, Alex can definitely get better. That is for certain. Keep in mind, that was his first real game action in Scott Turner's offense. Thought he looked damn good at times. Left a lot, again, as I mentioned on the film breakdown, left a lot of meat on the bone. A lot of meat on the bone. Thank you for the super chat, Mark Mullinex. Kevin, the PRF, thank you for the super chat. As always, Kev, greatly appreciate you. My man Kevin writes, you all Trevor Lawrence drones better be glad LT isn't our GM or we move up into the top 3 and take Parsons at this point. Look, it doesn't have to be Michael Parsons that takes John Bostic's spot. That's the thing. I just need competent play there. So Rivera, and this is the thing with Rivera, he's spoiled. Rivera had almost a decade of Luke Kuechly at middle linebacker. And Thomas Davis right next to him. And then on the opposite side in his final 3 or 4 years, Shaq Thompson. He was spoiled. He had some of the best linebacker play in the league for years. And now he's dealing with this. And he's like, what the hell is this? And remember, Rivera himself and Jack Del Rio are ex-backers. So they know what it's supposed to look like. That's why it's killing me that they continue to put John Bostic on the field and masquerade him as a starting middle linebacker and act as if we don't know what the hell we're watching. Like, it's an insult to our intelligence to keep putting him out there. And then it'd be one thing if his snap count was dwindling week after week. They didn't like Sean Dion after 1 week versus Philadelphia. They wiped the map with this dude. You would have thought that he was put in the witness protection program, that he had just snitched on somebody in the mafia or something. Because we didn't see Sean Dion until that one play versus Dallas, where he saved the damn day. And I showed you that on film. You would have thought Sean Dion he committed the biggest atrocity against this defense and coaching staff, and maybe he did behind the scenes and we don't know about it. Maybe he was ultra disrespectful in film study. I don't know. But I'm watching John Bostic commit just infraction after infraction, mistake after mistake, and it's killing this defense. 10 guys are doing their jobs to the best of their abilities, and John Bostic is effing up, and it's wiping away all the good deeds of the other 10 players on defense. It's not fair. But I wouldn't trade up for Parsons. I just want this defense to have a chance to be what they're supposed to be. They can't do that with John Bostic playing middle linebacker for them. There's a reason that he didn't stick in Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Chicago. That's the thing that we have to stop doing here. It's one thing if a young guy doesn't get an opportunity, and in the case of, say, a Logan Thomas, for instance. It's one thing if a guy's making a positional switch and you feel like he's still learning and never really got the opportunity to be the guy and you want to give him that chance. Cool. I'm okay with that. Despite him having played on 2 different rosters in Buffalo and Detroit, and 3 if you want to count Arizona, but he was really a quarterback there. If you want to say, okay, he's a journeyman because he hasn't really gotten a chance, fine. But John Bostic is a journeyman for a reason. Because he's an average at best middle linebacker that shouldn't be starting for any NFL franchise. That's the reason he was in Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, and Chicago. And none of them, there's a reason that we found out when we signed him back this offseason. When we signed him, there was a reason that we found out for the first time. Oh, John Bostic, this is the first time he's ever been signed to another contract by the same team. Now you understand why that was. Why every time a team signed John Bostic, they said, hey, John, we really appreciate your contribution, but we're going to go in a different direction. And he's never been re-signed by another franchise until us as dum-dums did it. There's a reason why. Hopefully they understand that. And after this season, we won't have to deal with this anymore. Because it's getting old fast. It's ridiculous. Is what it is. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin, the PRF. Got another super chat here from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, Bostic proved he's ass against the Rams. Watching Goff walk in for a touchdown. That was one of the most comical plays of the season for us defensively to this point. Is John Bostic looking like you're holding down the R1 trigger on Madden as he's strifing at the 1 yard line, watching Jared Goff and doesn't react to him until Goff is about to run into the end zone. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Seriously, you're going to just watch him waltz into the end zone? Not going to do anything about it? Jon Bostic is not a starting linebacker in this league. He has to go. They are killing this defense. Killing it. And you can't tell me there's not something else. I understand there's not much you can do in the way of an upgrade at this point because we're in the season and no good football players for the most part are walking around on the streets or on someone's practice squad at this point. I understand that. But there are other things you can do to try and see if something else, some kind of alternative is better. We've already realized that Jon Bostic is a square peg and this is a round hole, this defense, this middle linebacker position. It's a round peg. All right, it's a round hole and he's a square peg. It doesn't fit. If moving Cole Holcomb inside is the answer, if moving Sean Dion inside is the answer, there has to be another guy. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do right now real quick is I'm going to look and see who they have on the depth chart right now as Washington's backup middle linebacker. I bet any amount of money they don't have one. I'm going to go to their depth chart right now and see who's backing him up. They got Sean Dion backing him up and Jarrett Norris backing Sean Dion up. So second string is Sean Dion. I'm ready for Sean Dion. I'm ready for 51. I'm ready for Sean Dion to get in the game. I'm done with this Jon Bostic experiment. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and move on from him. You got Sean Dion as your backup middle linebacker. It's time to see what Sean Dion has. He can't be any worse. I assure you. I guarantee he can't be any worse. Don't talk to me about how smart Jon Bostic is. I don't want to hear about how athletic he is. Jon Bostic is an average, at best, middle linebacker. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. So I'm not going to sit here and act like he's the worst linebacker I've ever seen. We've seen worse here in Washington. Perry Riley was way worse. For some of you, Mason Foster was way worse. I didn't have the biggest problem with Mason Foster. I just know we could upgrade. We could do better than Mason Foster. He just doesn't need to be starting on this defense. He's holding this defense back. Extra Squaw, thank you for the super chat. Extra Squaw, greatly appreciate you. Extra Squaw writes, feel like Trey Lance is our future quarterback. Think the kid is going to be special and he fits the offense perfectly. Want to see your film breakdown of him. And eventually that'll be coming you guys' way, especially if you're on Patreon. The film breakdown will be up there. And I'm thinking about starting that process sometime in December. I'm not even going to wait till the end of the season. Normally, I don't start my draft breakdowns until we get into, January, late January, into February. And usually it's after the season's done, after the Super Bowl. I don't start that stuff until, 2-3 weeks into February. I think I'm going to start this thing in December. So when I get an opportunity and I start to free up a little bit of time, I'm going to start using that extra time that I have to start breaking down some of these prospects. And we're going to start the quarterback position, but I do that every year. It's not just because Washington is in the hunt for a quarterback. I start with the quarterback position because it's the most important position in football, and that's the position most people care about the most. But Trey Lance, and I've watched him already. I can give you a bit of a breakdown, but again, the film is I can talk to you until my and your face turns blue. And at the end of the day, the film tells the story. I've already given you, though, my biggest complaint about Trey Lance. And I'll give it to you once more because I don't know if I've done it on this platform. I know I've done it on my podcast at least once. I think I might have done it on the podcast twice, or I might have done it on one of my overtime shows after a primetime game. I don't think I've done it on any of the Washington programs, so I'll do it once more here. My problem with Trey Lance, and I would have a problem, again, if I were an evaluator, I would have to sit down and really dig deep into Trey Lance's background. I'd have to talk to him, get to know him, talk to people around him, talk to the coaches. Usually you get nothing but good reports. And if you are a good dude, all of that stuff is going to check out. But my biggest issue with Trey Lance, and I've said this on different platforms, and I'm going to echo it again here, is that this is a guy that hasn't seen adversity. 1 year of college football for Trey Lance. 1 year. And we've got recent examples of what 1 year of college football looks like. Dwayne Haskins being the most recent, and Mitchell Trubisky being the most recent before Dwayne Haskins. Neither one of those guys have panned out very well in the NFL. But that doesn't mean Trey Lance won't. But let me take it a step further. 1 year of college football experience. Usually this isn't a knock. It is in this particular instance. The guy didn't throw one interception, nor did he fumble the football at all last season. And the guy didn't lose a game last season. His team went undefeated, like 18-0, and won the national championship. 15-0, whatever it was. So what I'm saying to you is 42 touchdowns he accounted for. 28 touchdown passes, no interceptions, 14 rushing touchdowns, no fumbles. 42 touchdowns accounted for, no turnovers. Undefeated record, 15 or 16-0, whatever it was. National champion. All that sounds great, right? Until you think about this, and this is the kind of stuff I think about because I think critically about these things. How does this kid deal with adversity? He throws an interception. How does his mind work? Does he want to get back out there and overcome it? Does he dwell on that interception? Does he allow that one interception to turn into two? Does he hang his head? What happens when he causes his team to have a critical mistake in a crucial juncture of a game? How does he respond? What if he makes a mistake at the end of a game, throws a pick, they lose the game, like Alex Smith did this past week? Does it bleed into the next game? Or does he come back, shake that off, and play exceptional football? I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know how he bounces back from an interception in game. He throws his first pass of the game is a pick six. What does he do? Does he fold up like a lawn chair on a summer afternoon? Or does he come back and scorch the team for three touchdowns and 275 yards passing in a rout? I don't know. What happens when he fumbles on a carry down inside the 5-yard line? The other team recovers it and you lose the game 27-22. How does he respond to that? I don't know. I've never seen it. What about a fumble in the second quarter of a game? Does he respond to that well, or does he crumble? Does he allow that fumble to turn into another turnover? Does he start seeing ghosts in the pocket? I don't know. I've never seen it. I've never seen him throw an interception. I don't know how he handles adversity. They lose a game. How does he bounce back? They lose 2 in a row. What's his psyche? I don't know. I've never seen it. I don't know how this kid handles adversity. And that's important in this league. A lot of you kill me for my love of Kyle Allen and what he was doing. You know, one of the most impressive things I saw from Kyle Allen in this little stretch of football that we saw, he has the fumble versus the Giants in week 6. The very next possession, I'd given up. The game was over. We lost. That's what we do. We lose those games. So in my mind, heck, that's typical Redskins shit right there. We lost the game. Kyle Allen comes back into the game, unfazed by the mistake, unflappable like Jared Flacco. Takes us right down the field, throws a touchdown pass, and gives us a chance to win the game. You would have never known he just fumbled the game away on the previous possession. Because he came in, he shook that adversity off, and he took us down the field and gave us a chance to win the game. That's what I wanted to see from Alex Smith last week. You throw that interception, the third interception, it was trash, but at that point, I'd already conceded the game. The second interception was the backbreaker. That was the killer. Because we were damn near in field goal range already. If he just completes a check down to J.D. McKissick on first down, we're in field goal range. If he completes that same check down to J.D. McKissick on third down, we're in field goal range. But he threw an interception. But he got one more chance to show what it is he was capable of, and he threw another interception. How do you handle adversity? I don't know with Trey Lance. That's scary for me. It's damn near a deal breaker. But I also can tell you this. Talent is undeniable. And when you see it in a guy, you don't worry about all the other stuff. You just try to figure out. Again, that's why it's important that you know. Because Sua Cravens was really talented. Didn't have it up here. Josh Doxson, really talented. Didn't have it here in terms of his love for the game. You got to get to know these guys to understand, do they truly love football, and how will they handle an adverse situation? In order for me to be comfortable selecting a guy like Trey Lance, I would have to do a deep dive. I'd have to know about that 2-game losing streak in high school. How did he respond to that? Because I don't have it in college. How did he respond to that in high school? When he threw a pick in high school, what did he do? How did he respond? I'd have to go back and talk to high school coaches. I don't have any film or evidence of that in college. Thank you for the super chat, Extra Squaw. Got another super chat here. This one is from Alec Meehan. I appreciate you, Alec Meehan. Greatly appreciate you. Alec writes, "What up, Lou? I truly believe we win this game Sunday. Detroit has been giving up 5 yards a carry, only has 11 sacks, and they don't take the ball away. I got Washington 27-20. Hashtag MOBB. Mob Squad. Stand up. We in the building." All of that sounds great, Alec. It really does. But Detroit hasn't played us this season. That's number one. We're turning the football over at an alarming rate at times. And so, even though they've only forced 11, we could go in there and turn it over 3 times. I'm pretty sure the Giants aren't forcing 5 turnovers a game. We turned it over 5 times. I've watched a lot of football this season, and the Cleveland Browns defense, while they're okay, they're not great. They're not forcing 4 or 5 turnovers in a game. They forced 5 against us earlier this season. So we're capable of giving it up. Whether you're forcing them or not, we're capable of giving them up. I'm not impressed by Detroit. But I do know this. They got a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford that's fully capable of carving our asses up. And for those of you not sure if Matthew Stafford's going to play, he's playing. I looked at the injury report. He was a full participant today with a neck injury. Matthew Stafford doesn't miss football games anymore. Early in his career, he used to miss games left and right. I don't know if this guy's missed a game other than when he broke his back last year. Matthew Stafford doesn't miss games. Something's got to be really, really wrong. Like he's got to have a concussion or something's got to be broken for Matthew Stafford not to play. He'll be playing on Sunday. And he'll probably carve us up defensively. So it's cool that they're giving up 5 yards a pop on the ground. That's awesome too. But as you can see, we're not really interested in running the football. Now, again, I think that was part of the game plan, and I said it yesterday. And listening to Scott Turner talk today at the podium, he didn't sound like they went into the game with the, I gave him credit for, maybe this is the game plan. I don't think that they went into the game saying, let's abandon the run and go after the Giants secondary. They stink. They can't defend us if we just spread them out. I was giving him too much credit. I don't think that's what he was thinking at all. The man literally said he looked down at the call sheet and realized, oh, man, we only ran it 6 times so far. He didn't give a damn. He said, but we were having success, so we just kept rolling with the pass. I would like it if you figure that out before the game starts. Not as the game. And like you said, you got to be able to adapt. If you're having success throwing it in the game, okay, maybe you came in with a mindset of wanting to be balanced, but you realized early on, these guys can't stop us from passing the football, then you do that. I can tell you this, the Giants didn't come into the game thinking they were going to ram the football down our throats. But on one drive in the second quarter, where they got the touchdown to go up 20-3, they didn't know they were going to ram it down our throats, but we couldn't stop the run because John Bostic was so egregious that they said, well, shit, they can't stop it. We're just going to keep force-feeding it to our backs. Deion Lewis, Alfred Morris, we're going to run the football. Stop us. We couldn't, so they did. So we'll see. Look, the Lions are very capable of scoring 30 points. This is the problem that I don't think you're really focusing in on, Alec, is that you got us scoring 27. We scored 27 one time this season. And you got the Lions scoring 20. The Lions are capable of scoring 30 plus. They've done it multiple times this season already, I believe. Let me look that up. I feel like they've scored 30 multiple times this season. I could be wrong. But we don't need to guess. Let's look it up right now. So we're going to find out what exactly the Lions have been up to from a scoring standpoint. I guarantee you they've done it twice. I'm going out on a limb. But I'm going to say the Lions have scored 30 multiple times this season. They scored 34 against the Jaguars. They scored 29 versus the Saints. I lied. They haven't scored 30 multiple times. They've come dangerously close once in 29 versus the Saints. They scored 26 versus the Cardinals in a win. 34 versus the Jags was the one time they eclipsed the 30 mark. So they're capable of only scoring 20 points. They are capable of doing that because when I look at a lot of their score totals, 23, 21, 26, 29, 34, 23, 21, and 20. So if the defense comes to play and they can get after Stafford, yeah, 20 is doable. We can hold them down. But also, they're capable of scoring 30, something that we know nothing about this season. So we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. I'm just not. But thank you for the super chat, Alec. Got another super chat here from Mark Mullinex. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Mark. Greatly appreciate you. My man Mark writes, it's funny that people think Trevor Lawrence is going to be in the draft this year. He already said he is going for his senior year, so he will be next year. Look, I've heard Trevor Lawrence already declare for this year, coming up in 2021. So I think he's doing the same thing that we've heard from other guys that have been in this position, keeping all options open. But at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence is looking to get out of college football and get into the NFL as soon as possible. Any agent will tell you when you've got a chance to go, you go because you want to start your earning potential. The sooner you get into the league, the quicker you get to your first contract, the faster you get to your second contract. And that's where the real money is, not your rookie contract. You know, if you're drafted number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, yeah, you're going to make some good money, but you're not going to make the money that if you're really good, you're going to make on your second contract. So the faster you get to the first contract means you're going to get to your second contract even faster. And that's what you want. Ideally, that's what it's all about. How fast can I get to that second deal where I'm really going to make some money? And being that you're a first round pick, it's going to slow that process down because team has the 5th year option that they can pick up. So I think Trevor Lawrence, for all intents and purposes, is going to come out. Now, again, he holds all the cards because let's say the Jets have the number 1 overall pick and his camp says, we're not playing for the Jets. And we don't want you even going into the draft because we don't want the Jets thinking about drafting you. You got 2 options at that point, or 3 really. You could go back to school. You could, option 1, go back to school. Option 2, you could play hardball. Not playing for you. Trade me. So then at that moment, the Jets could either say, all right, either you're going to play for us or nobody. Or they could say, you know what? He doesn't want to play for us. We'll trade back. We'll take him. And then we'll get somebody else to take the player that we want. And then we'll make the swap. Or you could just come out and just play, which ultimately I think he's going to do. I mean, remember last year, Joe Burrow, everybody, Joe Burrow shouldn't play for Cincinnati. They're a horrible franchise. Don't go. Joe, don't go. And Joe was like, and he had some pause. He had some hesitation. Joe did. You'd be foolish if you didn't think Joe was listening to all the noise on the outside. But ultimately, cooler heads prevailed. Joe said, look, I'm happy to be in the league. I'm happy to be the number 1 overall pick. And if the Bengals take me, I'm going to play for them. And it's working out fine for him. He's well on his way to winning Rookie of the Year in 2020. So I haven't heard Trevor Lawrence say that he's going back to school definitively. He's left the door open for him to go back. But I've heard more definitively that he's coming out than I have he's going back. But he's leaving the door open just in case it's a situation that he doesn't want to be in. Jacksonville ends up with the number 1 pick, and he's like, I'm definitely not playing for that organization. Well, he's got the option to go back to school. All right, so with that said, let's get to in other news. And we heard from a bunch of people today. We heard from head coach Ron Rivera. We heard from offensive coordinator Scott Turner. We heard from starting quarterback Alex Smith. We heard from Ronald Darby at the cornerback position. We heard from Cam Sims at the wide receiver position. A lot of people stepped up to the mic today. And I found a lot of the conversation fascinating in terms of Ron. I thought Ron was very forthcoming about the linebackers. He said, they just need to be better. We need more production out of them. Period. Like, Ron didn't mix words. He didn't sugarcoat anything. They need to be better. Need more production out of the linebackers. And honestly, I think he's talking about John Bostic specifically, but he's not going to come out and say that. So you just lump everybody together and say we need more production out of the linebackers. But and there were opportunities for Cole Holcomb to make plays in this game. It's not just John Bostic that can be better. But John Bostic, Cole Holcomb isn't killing us defensively. Okay? Kevin Pierre-Louis isn't killing us defensively. John Bostic is. So I think he's more specifically talking about Bostic, but what are you going to do about it? Every time you've had a problem with somebody this year, you've benched him. You didn't like what you were getting out of Troy Apke. You benched him. You didn't like what you were getting out of Dwayne. You benched him. What are we waiting on with John Bostic? You have an able-bodied Sean Dion Hamilton behind him, rearing to go. He's ready. Put him in there. Put him in, coach. He's ready to play today. We ready to see him. Now, I was ready to see Sean Dion yesterday. I'm ready for him. What are we waiting on? So he talked about the linebackers. He talked about Alex. Obviously, he feels good about Alex. You know, Ron, I think secretly, if you gave Ron truth serum, if Alex was ready to go and they knew it right away, he would have probably wanted to go with Alex a lot sooner. But I really believe Kyle Allen was going to give us the best chance to win. But Ron's got a soft spot for the vets. You know that. We've talked about that before. And so I think he feels really comfortable about what Alex brings to the table. I don't think he feels like Alex is going to turn it over 3 times in a game moving forward. Because that's not really, if we're being brutally honest with one another, this game we just saw from Alex Smith, this was an out-of-body experience. Come on, look at me in my eyes. Come on. I'm looking at you in your eyes. Look at me in my eyes. All right? I'm getting close to the camera right now. Be serious with me. Alex Smith isn't throwing for 325 yards or whatever he just threw for on a consistent basis. Alex Smith isn't going to throw 3 interceptions either. Let's be honest with each other. There's a reason why this was his most impressive game as a Washington football player since he's joined this team back in 2018. This isn't what he does. You be fooling your damn self if you think he's going to just light Detroit up next week and light Cincinnati up the week after. That's not Alex Smith. Don't fool your damn self. Alex Smith is a 227-yard on 28 completions quarterback. 21 of 28, 22 of 34 for 234 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That's Alex Smith. Take it or leave it. You're fooling yourself if you think Alex is just now. Look, I'd be surprised, and I'd be so excited and elated by that surprise if he tears Detroit a new one next week on Sunday. I'd be elated, but I'm not counting on it, and I'm not looking for it. I'm not expecting it. I told you, and I think I said this on the pod today, and I've said this in the past here on not necessarily on this show in particular, but on Redskins shows in the past, on Washington shows in the past. I've said this. This season, and every season for that matter when it starts, I hope for the best. I expect the worst. Okay? But at least I'm hoping for the best to start. I'm optimistic. I'm putting my best foot forward. I'm positive. Go get them, fellas. Let's do it. Now I've switched to the negative mode, which this team has programmed me to think over the last 25, 30 years, which is expect the worst, hope for the best. Now I'm going into games for the remainder of this season expecting to lose and to expect turnovers and mistakes and blunders and penalties. I'm expecting that moving forward. Alex Smith can change my mind. I'm not closed-minded. I just know what I see. And I know what I know. And I've been watching football long enough, and I've seen Alex Smith play enough to know that that's not who Alex Smith really is. When Tyrod Taylor goes off for 317 yards, you don't get excited and say, oh my God, this is what Tyrod Taylor can do. You just say, Tyrod Taylor had an out-of-body experience. And you expect the real Tyrod Taylor to come back next week and throw for 198 yards. 1 touchdown and no interceptions. You don't expect Tyrod to then follow up that 317-yard performance with another 300-yard day, because that's not who Tyrod Taylor has shown you who he's been over the decade or however long he's been in this league in his career. And you'd be a damn fool if you think that Alex Smith is going to follow up this 300-yard performance with another one, because that's not what his career track says. I'm hopeful just as much as the next man, but I'm out of hopeful juice. Okay? They've zapped it all out of me. I got none left. Now I'm expecting this team to live up to the standards that everybody else has set for them. 3 or 4 wins, top 10 pick, maybe even top 5. Okay, you got me. Hands up. You got me. So, Ron talked about Alex getting better. We'll see. And what a full week of practice means for Alex Smith. Once again, we'll see. We'll see if that does anything. I thought Alex looked damn good for not taking first-team reps all week long. But we'll see if these first-team reps do anything for Alex Smith moving forward. Got a super chat here from Quentin Ruiz. Thank you for the super chat. Quentin Ruiz, who writes, Settle greater than Allen. Change my mind. I don't really know what you want me to say other than pedigree. Jonathan Allen works his ass off. He's disruptive in the run game. He's awesome on twists and stunts. And he's relentless. Other than that, though, I'm not sure that if I, and this is just based off of watching the film, if I were running this team, I would have to take a hard, long look at what I value Jonathan Allen at in the offseason. Because I'm looking, and remember, both of these guys are going to be up for a new deal at the very same time. And to me, you got to pick one or the other. I don't think you're going to be able to pick both, because remember, Settle came in a year after Allen. I think Settle was in the 2018 draft. Allen was in the Settle was in the 20, I think I got it right. Settle was in the 2018 draft. Allen was in the 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20. And he's got one more year after this. So they could pick up the 5th-year option, which they did already. So, Allen was the first-round pick in 17. Payne was the first-round pick in 18. And Sweat and Haskins were 19. So I got it right. So, Tim Settle was a 5th-round pick, I believe, in 2018. So you don't get a 5th-year option with him. It's just 4 years and he's done. Allen's going to get the 5th-year option. So they're both going to be up for a new deal in 2021 going into that offseason. If you ask me, as it stands right now, I'd much rather pay Tim Settle than Jonathan Allen. That's just me. I think Settle is just as good in the run game, if not better. I think he collapses the pocket. And this is the thing you got to Jonathan Allen is not a big man. When you look at Jonathan Allen, he's 6'3". I'm going to give him 6'3". But he looks like he's about 296, 297. I might be being generous. He's not a big dude. He's not a legit 300-pounder. He's smaller than you're accustomed to. Now, he's quick, but he's not elite quick. Settle's a big boy. He eats up space. He's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. He's gotten into tremendous shape this year. This is the best shape we've seen Tim Settle in. He holds the point of attack in the run game, takes on double teams. It's hard to move him. And I feel like of all of our defensive tackles, and this includes Payne, I feel like Tim Settle collapses the pocket on passing downs better than any other defensive tackle that we have. So, Quentin, I'd love to change your mind. I'm not saying that Settle is better than Allen right now, but I think the upside is. And I think if you gave Settle more snaps, I think you'd see more production than we've gotten out of Allen. So, I can't change your mind because if you've been watching, and I have an inkling, I got a small feeling that the reason you feel that way is because of the film study. And if you've been watching my film study, I've kind of been leaning that way. I don't want to take snaps away from Allen. I haven't advocated for that, but I've said I sure would like to see more of Timothy Settle. I've said that. Now, what am I implying? I don't want to take Daron Payne off the field. That's for damn sure. So what am I implying? I'm not going to say it. You draw the inferences. You connect the dots. I'm not saying it out of my mouth. But I would like to see Timothy Settle get more snaps. That's just me. Thank you for the super chat, Quentin Ruiz. So Ron talked about this football team and where he thinks they're heading, things of that nature. I thought Ron was solid today. Didn't talk too much. I will say this. They asked him a question that I thought was important, and I wanted to see his answer because these are the questions Ron struggles with, and I thought he struggled with the answer today. Thought he said too much again, but they asked him about the quarterback position. They asked him about Steven Montez. And that's not the answer that I was referring to when he didn't answer it. That I thought he, struggled with the answer. But he did talk about Steven Montez. And I talked about, remember on Monday, I said, hey, Steven Montez, one of the 4 guys that they've put that restriction on that no one can pluck from their practice squad. And he clarified it. And we all knew the answer to that. Look, you got 2 able-bodied quarterbacks right now. Steven Montez gives you a third. You have to have at least 3 in this league. Even if the third one's on your practice squad. You don't want to find yourself in a position where something happens to Alex, Dwayne's out there, but now you don't have a backup to Dwayne. You don't want to be scrambling. We don't want to turn this back. We don't want to turn this into 2018 all over again, where we're hitting the streets looking for Dirty Chezes and Josh Johnsons of the world. We don't want to go down that road again. You got another guy that's able-bodied that's been in your camp all year long despite not getting a ton of snaps. You do want this guy here so that if you run into any problems, at least you got a guy that you trust in Steven Montez. He's a young guy. You see what he can do. Ron talked about how Steven Montez, and I've talked about this, lacks touch. He said, look, he's a big athletic kid with a big arm, but he lacks touch. He lacks the ability to put the football where he wants. He's like, and Ron tried to, and he had the perfect analogy, he just effed it up. Ron said he's got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. What he meant to say was he's got a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and he's got a 92-mile-an-hour changeup. There's not much difference there. That's a problem. But sounds like they like Montez, so he's on the back burner. But that's a guy that they want to keep. But the question that I thought he kind of tried to dance around, but he too much words, too much. Say less, as the young boys like to say. Say less. They asked him about how can you determine if the quarterback of the future is on the roster, if you're playing Alex, and we know he's not the quarterback of the future. And Ron just started talking and talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, Ron, stop talking. You're not saying anything, and you're putting your foot in your mouth. There's really no way to tell. He started talking about Cam and how they were able to evaluate. Cam never sat on the bench. You played Cam, you saw development, and he was the guy. You drafted him to be the guy, and he was the guy. I don't need you to start talking about Cam and you saw this out of Cam and you saw that out of Cam. You were sold on Cam. Cam was your guy. You weren't sold on Dwayne. He was never your guy, and he hasn't shown you the things you need to see. Just say that. Just say, look, in order to be the guy, you've got to show us everything, not just on the field, but off it as well. Leave it at that. They can draw their own inferences. If they can't read between the lines, that's not my problem. All right, got another super chat here. Got one from Kevin the PRF. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Kevin the PRF. Greatly appreciate you as always. My man Kev writes, big up Lou for taping this show and then going live. You didn't have to do that. Much love. Look, man, we were supposed to be live, and I don't know what was going on with YouTube. They had a little bit of a meltdown there for a little while, but like always, we gonna get together as a family and and come together, because that's what we do. We lean on each other for strength, because this team tries to zap all of our energy from us, so we have to lean on each other for strength. We need each other. I'm just here to get the whole family together. That's all. That's my only role in all of this, is to help everyone congregate in one specific area. I appreciate y'all joining me, though, because you could have checked out. This was supposed to be at 8:30. YouTube was having trouble. You could have said, hey, I'm going to catch you on the flip side, Lou. But y'all chopping it up with the kid, and I appreciate y'all, as always. So thank you, Kev. Really do appreciate you. And you not just a Washington dude. I usually catch you on just about all my streams. So I really do appreciate you, because you transcend platforms and just Washington. You go everywhere with me. I could pack you in the bag because you travel with me. So much respect for you and what you do. Got another super chat here from Enigma RJ. Thank you for the super chat, Enigma RJ, who writes, hey, Louie. Did you know John Bostic made the Pro Bowl or ever for every team he played for? LOL. Thought you need a good John Bostic joke. Love the film study, though. Again, John Bostic drives me nuts. Nuts. He's driving me nuts. I can't take it anymore. I'm losing my shit when I'm watching this film, and I know the defense is better than this, because I've watched the Giants every game this season. And I've never looked at their offense and said, man, this is a team that you got to watch out. They can run the football against you. Even when they got us last time, it was more Daniel Jones. It was a sprinkle of Devontae Freeman. But for the most part, it was that one big Daniel Jones run, a couple of runs, on read option. And then he had a quarterback draw that almost popped for a first down, almost a touchdown on a third down and long. But they didn't really kill us on the ground in that game. And I wasn't expecting them to do it in this game. And then, it made it 10 times worse. It's always a little bit more salt in the wound when you see it's one of your boys, one of your ex-guys. When it's wake up, wake up, wake up, it's Alpha Morris. When you see it's AM, you're like, what the hell is AM doing digging in our ass, man? This is some bullshit. AM shouldn't be getting to the perimeter against our defense. It's Alfred Morris. Alfred Morris doesn't get to the perimeter. Well, he did against us. That's bullshit. We're better than that. And the biggest culprit for me is John Bostic, and it continues to be John Bostic. And at what point, and Ron said it himself, at what point do you prioritize the other 52 guys in the locker room? Or in this case, at what point do you prioritize the other 10 guys on defense that are playing and say, this guy is hurting us and he's not giving the other 10 guys a chance? At what point do you recognize that John Bostic isn't getting the job done at a high enough clip that is impacting what everyone else is doing defensively? Because if I'm Jonathan Allen, if I'm Daron Payne, I'm telling myself, I got to make the play. I can eat this double team and allow my linebacker to make a play in the backfield, but do I really think John's going to do it? Hell no. So why the hell would I play good soldier, eat this double team, and hold up these blockers and allow my linebacker to come make the play when I know his ass ain't going to make the goddamn play? I got to make the play or nobody's going to make the play. And when you get guys thinking like that, start trying to play hero ball, now you get guys out of their proper gaps. Now you don't have the proper gap fits. You don't have proper gap control. And now real runs start to bust open. And that's what you don't want. That's what you want to guard against. Come on, man. We watching the film. We see it. I know you see it. It's hard for you to sit here and tell Daron Payne and tell Jonathan Allen and Chase Young and Montez Sweat and Ryan Kerrigan and Ryan Anderson that, hey, just do your job and these linebackers are going to make plays. Hard for them to watch the film and believe you. Now I feel like you're lying in my face. Thank you for the super chat, Enigma RJ. And I'm glad you loved the film study because I thought film was it was fun this week. There were a couple of things that were really fascinating about film. You know, the big play to, what's the Giants wide receiver down the sideline? The one that we were joking about saying, what the hell is this guy doing catching a 40-yard pass down the sideline on us? Looks like a damn tight end too. 81, I can't think of his damn name. But on that route where they gave it up, that was interesting to see the coverage. And then offensively, to see the Giants doing that inverse cover 2 where the corner, and that's how they got the pick at the end of the game. Like, oh, that's why film study is so much fun. And it's informative because now you're not in the dark as to what this guy is doing, what that guy is doing. You can see it with your own 2 eyes. You can identify what guys are playing well, what guys aren't. And you know, now they can't lie to us. The worst thing they could have ever done is give us the all 22s and give us access. Because now we think we know what the hell's going on. And sometimes we don't, especially on the defensive side of the football. I know what the hell's going on offense. Sometimes on defense, though, you think you know. But again, defense is so much more complex because you don't know how they're being coached. You don't know what communication is going on between the players. And you don't always know the exact responsibilities. Cover 2 can look like cover 4. Cover 4 can look like cover 2. There's a lot of things going on defense. And so you think you know what you're looking at, but then you don't, you know? So it's always fun to watch film, though, because you learn. I learn something every week watching film. Oh, okay, I see what he's doing here, or I see what this guy's doing there. Thank you for the super chat once again, Enigma RJ. Alec, yes, Mack is his name. Austin Mack is his damn name. That's right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the super chat, Alec. Meehan, double up. Thank you for doubling up, Alec. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. So you transition into Scott Turner and what he had to say at his presser today. And I thought that he was a little bit introspective in the sense that he admitted, yeah, I think I want to run the ball more. And he keeps saying that, but at his core, we can all agree and acknowledge that at his core, Scott Turner wants to throw the football. Let's be honest with each other. He made it a point of emphasis to run it against Dallas, so much so that we started the game with Peyton Barber as our lead back against Dallas. But outside of that game, and at the end of the Philadelphia game when we took the lead, when have we really tried to establish the run? Like, seriously, like, oh, we were going to run the ball. Like, that's not who we are. Like, if we can throw it, Scott wants to throw it. And honestly, the Giants are stout up front. They play a 3-4 defense, and their defensive line is as stout as it gets with Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson, and the Clemson defensive tackle. Like, they're really stout up front, man. They're physical. They get after it. So the best thing you can do is throw the football against them. I didn't have a problem with the game plan. I didn't have a problem with the execution of the game plan for the most part. But let's not keep this charade up about wanting to stay balanced. That's a great idea to have, but I don't think that's who Scott Turner really is to remain balanced. Balance for him is, hey, we build a lead with the pass game and we keep the lead with the run game. I think that's his idea of balance. And that's okay too. I'm not knocking the hustle. If that's what you are, be who you are. Don't try to conform to what you think you're supposed to be. Be who you are. Because I'm just telling you right now, the Giants couldn't stop us from throwing the football. We stopped ourselves with turnovers and penalties and mistakes. The Giants weren't stopping us. So if you can execute and you think you got the weapons, it's funny because at the beginning of the season, we didn't have any weapons. There was no talent around Dwayne. It's not enough here. How is Dwayne supposed to function without any weapons? And now we're sitting here with the same dudes, and Alex Smith is throwing for 300 yards. And the whole universe is upside down. Because Cam Sims is out there playing ball. And I didn't know this stat until J.P. Finley threw it out there today at the presser. But last game versus the Giants was the first time since 2016 we had two wide receivers go over 100 in the same game. And I'll let you guys guess who those two receivers were. And it's not hard. It's not rocket science. You go back to 2016 and think about the receivers on that roster, and you can come to a very quick conclusion as to who the two receivers were. But it's amazing that we haven't been able to put on the field at the same time two guys capable of eclipsing 100 yards in the same game. How pathetic we've been as a passing team at the receiver position. And now you look up and you say, hey, maybe we got some guys. I don't know. We'll see. Scott Turner also talked about how, Alex is going to get the first team reps and how he thinks Alex has acclimated himself. And, they throw little subtle jabs at Dwayne. And they're not malicious jabs, and I don't think they mean to throw jabs, but again, when you're hyper critical as I am with these comments and I'm reading between every single line of every comment that's made, you can draw conclusions, and I don't care. I'm not a Dwayne defender, so I don't care. But I'm listening to Scott Turner, and he said, I knew Alex was going to be ready because he prepares like a pro. That's not an indictment unless it's an indictment. What has been the knock on Dwayne? He's not ready, and because they asked Scott Turner, was there a difference between the game plan you had prepared for Kyle versus what you were able to run with Alex in the game? And he said, not really that much of a difference. Obviously, there are, a few differences. And we know what that difference is Kyle's mobility. But, he said, look, I knew Alex was going to prepare. I knew he was going to be ready if his number was called. And so there wasn't much different that we had to do. But just think about this. Look how different the offense looks. And I know there's still a lot of you who are staunch detractors of Scott Turner. You need to come off of that train. I like Scott Turner. I think he's done some really good things. Look at the offense when Dwayne was in, and look at the offense now and how it's evolved. We went from calling 97 bubble screens in a 3-week span to now, I don't know the last time we've seen one of those traditional wide receiver screens. We threw a bunch of those slip screens, all right? Those slot screens where the guy in the slot bubbles out and they get it to him quickly and you get two blockers out in front. But in terms of, Guy lines up out wide and he comes in and they throw it to him, or you take 2 steps up the field and you come back and the 2 guys that are on the side of the field with you in that trips formation go and block, you catch it and get up the field. Like, we haven't seen one of those tunnel screens in at least a week now. So you go from every variation of screen known to mankind to now, hey, let's push the football. And remember, this offense is predicated on getting the football vertically, getting it up the field. That's what Air Coryell is all about. Get the football up the field. Stretch the football field vertically. We're doing that now. We're challenging teams down the field. Remember, we couldn't buy a 30-yard game to save our lives. And this was post Dwayne too. We couldn't buy a 30-yard game in the air for the first 6 weeks of the season. Even that first game versus the Giants, which was really Kyle Allen's first true start, because the Rams game he was knocked out before halftime. Still wasn't getting big chunk plays until that Cam Sims touchdown. At the end of the game, we weren't getting chunk plays. And ever since then, we've seen this offense start to take off. And you get the Terry bomb versus the Cowboys. You get the Cam Sims down the field shot versus the Cowboys. You get the 50-50 ball down the field to Logan Thomas versus the Cowboys. You go to this game. You get the Cam Sims deep ball down the sideline. You get the Cam Sims deep post at the end of the first half. There are big plays being made by this offense now. We're taking shots. I'd like to see us take more. There were more opportunities in this game. And I think Scott Turner is sensing that we're starting to get into a little bit of an offensive rhythm. And I hope we continue to grow as an offense with Scott Turner, because I like what he's doing. I want to double back to something Rivera talked about, and that's the running backs and how versatile they are. And Rivera talked about Bryce Love, and he said Bryce Love is a guy that can run in between the tackles. And I think they feel like they're missing a true in between the tackles runner. Peyton Barber is that. But as I've mentioned, Peyton Barber is extra regular. All right. So you get nothing with Peyton Barber. Nothing. With Bryce Love, there's a chance that if he hits a seam, he can go much faster than slow. And he said, what was shocking to him is that Stanford didn't use Bryce Love in the pass game more because Ron seems to think he's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. Well, we'll see. If he gets his opportunity, we'll see. I'd love nothing more than to have a 3-headed attack at running back between Gibson, McKissick, and Love. I'd love to phase Peyton Barber out of there. Put him on the practice squad. If you love him so much, put him on the practice squad. I don't think anybody else is going to sign Peyton Barber. Put him on the practice squad. If you need him, somebody goes down, he'll be there. I'd love nothing more than to see a 3-headed triumvirate of Gibson, McKissick, and Barber. And Love. Excuse me. Not Barber. Love. Rivera talked about the versatility of the backs and said that, he's talked to coaches that we played against and they've said that, they love the versatility of our backs. Okay, cool. I don't think we're utilizing them as much as we could, personally. We haven't seen one J.D. McKissick deep ball down the field. We haven't seen one Antonio Gibson catch out of the slot other than a slot screen. I don't think you're utilizing these guys to the best of their abilities, but whatever. That's cool. At the end of the day, I think Scott Turner's getting comfortable. And we'll see if that carries over into week number 10 versus Detroit. Alex Smith stepped to the podium. I actually liked his presser. I thought he was going to be, the same Alex that we always get. He was really short, sweet. He didn't ask a bunch of questions. Normally, he answers every question with the phrase "right" at the end, as if he's asking a rhetorical question. He didn't do that either. So that made the presser a lot more tolerable. I thought he was very thoughtful in his answers. I'm rooting for Alex Smith. I am. I don't have any more belief to give. He's going to have to earn that. He's going to have to build that back up in me. But I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes out and plays well. And then I heard from Darby and I heard from Cam Sims as well. Darby was talking about the difference between man and zone. He said, look, I've been playing man coverage all my life. And I come here and I'm playing a heavy dose of zone. And it's different. He said it's a lot different than playing man. He said, now let me explain this to you. He said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but playing man is hard. It's harder than playing zone, but it's dumber. So essentially what he's saying is, look, it's hard to chase a dude around. It is. If that guy's better than you, 95% of the time, you're going to get your ass beat. Case in point, Cameron Curl. That wasn't bad coverage against Evan Ingram on the touchdown. It wasn't. He jammed him. He got a piece of him. Evan Ingram is just a better athlete. And he got even with him, and he left his ass. He's a 4.41 athlete. Cameron Curl is a 4.5 athlete. The two are not the same. He got smoked. That's what happens when you're in man-to-man. It's tough. If the guy in front of you is a better athlete and he's a better route runner and he can do all of the things that elite guys do, you're probably going to get beat. So it is. It's really hard. But it doesn't take a lot of brains to play man-to-man. Hey, just like in basketball, it's not rocket science. You want to dumb things down? Hey, you got the dude in the orange shorts. You just stay with him. Simple enough. Zone requires you to think. And that's what Darby said. Like, I had to retrain my eyes. Remember Rivera said when Darby got here, his biggest problem was his eye discipline. His eyes would get him into trouble. Darby said, I had to retrain my eyes because you could have three guys in your zone and you might take care of one, but here comes, he said, you might take care of the flats, but there's a 7 route right behind you. And your job is never over when you're in zone. It's a constant battle of figuring out, all right, got this guy, passed him off to this dude. Here comes another guy into my zone. And you got to constantly react and you got to think. What is this guy doing? How is this teammate playing this? How can I combo off of that? A lot going on in zone. So he acknowledged that, man, I'm learning a lot. He said, but the more I play, the more comfortable I get. He said, man, when I first started, I was ready to jump stuff. Remember the Eagles game in week 1, 3rd and 24. He's jumping a route at 15 yards and giving up the big ball down the field. And he said, look, I was jumping shit. I was used to playing man. And now I understand. I got zone responsibilities. So he's gotten better. I like Ronald Darby a lot. I really do. Somebody asked me, I think a week ago, would I re-sign Ronald Darby? Yep. As of right now, yeah. You know, if nothing changes, I like Ronald Darby across from Kendall Fuller. Heard from Cam Sims. And he's everything that everybody said he was. Terry had a statement the other day. It might have been today, might have been yesterday, where Terry pretty much said, look, the reason I love Cam Sims is because he doesn't say much. He works his ass off. And when he gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them. And that's pretty much my story. Terry saying that's pretty much my story. And when Cam Sims stepped up to the mic, he said, look, man, I just need opportunities. I had to work my way on the team by special teams. And I knew if I worked hard enough on specials, that was going to get me on the roster. It did. If I worked hard enough at specials and I got on the roster, that was going to give me an opportunity to get into the lineup. It did. And when I get this opportunity, I can't mess it up. And he said, the biggest thing is I just got to catch the football. Sounds simple. But remember, that's what got him cut last year. Last game of preseason. Steven Sims caught everything, returned a good punt, and that was the difference between him or Steven Sims making the roster last year. He dropped 2 passes in that game. He got cut. Ended up coming back onto the team in a special teams capacity. But he said, look, if you want guys to trust you, just catch the ball. They'll keep coming back to you. That's good advice. It's real good advice. So we'll see now. We'll see what happens moving forward. But we'll talk more about Detroit tomorrow on the show. We'll take a look at our first injury report of the week. A lot of guys did not practice today. Don't know what to make of it, including running back Antonio Gibson with a shoulder injury. Should we make a lot of that? Should we not make a lot out of that? We'll see. Tomorrow we'll tell the story. If Gibson doesn't practice tomorrow, it's a story. If he does practice, water under the bridge. So we'll take a look at the injury report. We'll take our first look at the Lions, and we'll turn the page from the Giants game. So look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you'll join me for the overtime show. Titans Colts should be a good one. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Washington Football Nightly. I appreciate you guys. Remember, I'm your man Louie T, and this has been Washington Football Nightly. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to the Louie T Network. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And hit that like button on the way out if you haven't already done so. And check out the merch. All right. Got hats. I already had somebody send me a picture of them rocking the camo LTN hat. It was dope. I really appreciate that. If you out there, big ups to you. Really appreciate you. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a shout out right now. Let me find your Insta real quick, because you hit me. And big ups to my man Shane. If you out there, Shane Costello, really appreciate you, bruh. Appreciate the picture, and thank you for supporting the Louie T Network, man. Shane, big ups. And the hat looked dope on you too, just so you know. Keep killing it, man. All right, but in any event, you guys have a good one. Take care. If you're not a member of the Mob Squad, MOBB, stand up. We in the building. I don't know what you're waiting on, but you need to get on board. Get on this train. All right. Link is down in the description, along with the link to Patreon and to the printchamps.com/Louie T, where you can find all the merch. So with that being said, you guys have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you on the next installment of Washington Football Nightly. Have a good one. Take care.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.